Good evening. I want to share initially a poem that I'm not the author of, but it was a poem that was written by a woman for women. And it embodied the personification of Aunt Doretha. It says a tribute to women. It says we are women by God's design. For man does not originate from woman, but woman from man. This was God's choice, and we were included in his plan. God said it is not good for man to be alone. Proverbs 31 says that we are the keeper of the home. The woman is God's chosen vehicle for bringing life into the world. We have a Christian responsibility to every boy and girl. Prayer is a reality. It will heal our land. We need to call on Jesus. He holds the master plan. God commanded women to be an influence in our nation. The woman today needs to possess more dedication. We need to be committed to a philosophy based on God's word. To tell the world of God's goodness, our voice will be heard. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the full armor of God. Stand firm for the right. Become acquainted with the scriptures in daily meditation. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Each book has a message. The Bible will never grow old. The creation is the greatest story that has ever been told. Read Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. The life of Christ is traced. Romans will tell you how we are saved by our Father's grace. Genesis is the beginning. The triumph of God is in Revelations 21 and 22. If we hold to God's unchanging hand, he will see us through. Yes, we can make a difference if we live the Christian way. The world would be a better place if we acknowledge him every day. And I share that with you because as I thought in the private chambers of my own praying ground as to what I would say as a reference to a tribute to Aunt Doretha. And yes, I know that many of you call her Miss Betty, some call her mother, some call her grandmother, some call her sister, some call her aunt, and we call her, those of us in the Massenburg family of nieces and nephews especially, we called her Aunt Doretha. Some called her Aunt Do. Some said, ain't Doretha. Some said, ain't Do. But whatever it was, we said it with affection because she demonstrated affection for us. Now, there have been several accolades that have been given to her here this evening. Somebody said that she's a trailblazer. Somebody says that she is a pioneer. But I thought in the private chambers of my own praying ground that Aunt Doretha was a bridge builder. Aunt Doretha, my earliest remembrances of her were on a farm that she and my Uncle Zolly, who we affectionately call Uncle Juniors, attended to in Lewisburg, North Carolina, on what is now East River Road. Then it was just a dirt road that went down to Aunt Doretha and Uncle Junior's house. But my earliest memories of her were in the cucumber patch after she had taught school all day. And she would come home and she would work in the cucumber patch picking cucumbers. And one evening she was there, me and my mother was there, and I was there, and we were all picking cucumbers. And that was my recollection of how Aunt Doretha started. But Aunt Doretha had something that a lot of folks didn't have, and especially women of color. Aunt Doretha had a vision. Aunt Doretha had the nerve to dream in that day. And when the family moved from Lewisburg to Durham, that was a great occasion because you have to realize that in Lewisburg, there are things that just don't happen every day. Sometimes one of the greatest things for us to experience was the grocery truck coming to Murphy's Grocery on East Nash Street unloading groceries on Saturday afternoons. So it was exciting for us to be able to come to Durham and to know that Uncle Junius was working at the VA hospital. And of course, he had a story to tell about that. He was not just an orderly, he was a doctor. And we were all excited about that. But then Aunt Doretha had the nerve to come to Durham and to go to school. And she bridged build a bridge between the urban and the rural, between the city and the country. Aunt Doretha had the nerve to be educated. She built a bridge between ignorance and education. She had the nerve to dream about something that no one could even imagine. And she went on to school and she became all of the things that have been given to her tonight. And as I look at her as she lies here in her beautiful estate and the royalty that is present around her and the flowers and the color of her dress, I see a woman who indeed is a bridge builder. Not only does she build bridges between the urban and the rural, between the country and the city, but she had the nerve to build bridges between family relations. She, as has been stated, I'm her nephew, and I'm a nephew by marriage. So we are in-laws or outlaws, but Aunt Doretha made sure that we were in and not out. I can remember, and this goes back a ways, that in the days when libations ran freely and inebriation seemed to have come early and stayed a little too long, when Club 55 was in bloom and the Stallion Club was jumping, many nights we would come from Lewisburg to Durham and end up on Plum Street because that was the only address that we really knew at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And Aunt Doretha would get up and she would fix a full-blown breakfast and made sure that we were in the condition that we could drive back to Lewisburg. In 1960, I was awarded a scholarship for a science summer camp at North Carolina Central. And I attended that camp and I didn't do very well in the course because I spent most of my time on Plum Street, eating and fellowshipping with Aunt Doretha and Uncle Junius. So there are many things that we can say about Aunt Doretha, but she is a bridge builder. As has been stated before by the people at Regent, she bridged the gap across the Pacific Ocean, went from the mainland to the island. And she did that because of her vision years ago. She had the nerve to dream. She had the nerve to build bridges where no one else would dare go. And now, tonight, we come to celebrate this life because we realize that during her life, that there were some nights that tears fell. There were some nights that she sobbed all night long. But she knew that tears may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. So good morning, Aunt Doretha. Thank you for building the bridges for us. God bless you.